Getting laser eye surgery from an unlicensed doctor was the worst decision of my life. I immediately started having second thoughts as I stood outside the building. I had initially thought it was abandoned until I had seen a light on inside. I was about to turn around and walk away when my stupid glasses rolled down my nose again, which gave me the impetus to walk forward and knock on the door. A stout woman opened the door and ushered me inside, and I noticed she glanced around as if to see if anyone had witnessed me enter the building. She led me to a room and she forced me into a chair that was reminiscent of a medieval torture device. A man in a doctor's coat walked in and they began strapping me to the chair. I tried asking them some questions, but neither of them responded to any of them. My brain was screaming at me to leave as I could smell the alcohol on the so-called doctor's breath. They wrenched my head upwards before placing a strap on it that forced me to stare at the ceiling. I gazed up into my own reflection as the entire ceiling was lined with mirrors. They both marched out of the room, leaving me alone with my own thoughts. The laser machine was beside me, and I laughed away to myself as it looked like someone had built it from Lego. It seemed like an eternity before the doctor returned, completely naked, and he stood nearby, peering directly at me. He moved closer and closer until he was standing inches away from my face. My eyes widened in terror as I noticed blood dripping from a cut that seemed to encircle his face. His warm breath on my face made it break out in goosebumps, and I could see him smiling from my discomfort. He turned away from me, and I almost screamed as I noticed his back was covered in faces that were locked in an eternal scream. I recognized the doctor's face amongst them, and he seemed to be struggling to escape, but his efforts seemed to be futile. The nurse walked into the room, carrying a tray of instruments. I shouted out a warning to her, but the doctor was lightning quick. He grabbed her head and ripped it off before tossing it in the air and catching it in his mouth. He swallowed it in one go and let out a loud burp. Her body sunk to the floor as blood began pouring from her neck and onto the floor. I began screaming my head off in hopes of someone hearing me.
Help! Help!
The doctor placed his hand over my hand to quieten me down. I unintentionally licked his hand and had to fight back vomit at the putrid taste of his flesh. He used his free hand to aim the machine overhead directly at my right eye. I closed my eyes, but he placed something in my eyes to keep them open. An agonizing pain coursed through my body as it turned on the laser and shot directly into my eye. The straps held me in place as I convulsed in the chair. I could smell something burning, and it took me a few moments to realize it was my eyeball cooking inside my skull. The doctor was doing what looked like a waltz around me as I tried to loosen my straps. After what felt like an eternity, he finally turned off the laser, and I stared up in wonder at my right eye. It was blackened beyond recognition, and I didn't even feel any pain as he reached inside and pulled it out. He then grabbed my nose and held it tight, and I was forced to open my mouth to breathe. Before I had a chance to react, he pushed my eyeball inside my mouth and massaged my throat so I would swallow it. He walked away from me, and I could see him tearing off the limbs from the nurse and taking dainty little bites until he devoured them. I began wrenching at my restraints and almost screaming joy as my left hand broke loose. I quickly untied my left hand and was about to free my feet when he turned towards me. I quickly placed my hands back in place and prayed that he didn't see me. He turned his head from side to side before shrugging and continuing to devour the nurse. I untied my feet moments before he finished eating the nurse. He turned his attention back towards me and began setting up the laser directly over my other eye. I braced myself and lashed out with my right foot and sent him hurtling across the room. He sprawled on the ground as I desperately tried to free my neck. He rose to his feet just as I freed myself and hopped out of the chair. Luck was on my side as he slid on the nurse's blood and fell face first onto the floor. I launched myself at the floor as he tried to push himself to his feet. I ran down the hallway with my heart pounding in my chest as I could hear him directly behind me. I pulled open the door, and I was just about to sprint outside when he grabbed me onto the back of my shirt. His strength was immense as he pulled me backwards inside the building. I let out a scream of relief as my shirt ripped, and I rushed out of the door. I didn't stop running until I reached my house and locked the door behind me. I decided to see a therapist to come to terms with what happened to me. I think I may need to get a new therapist, as today she didn't say a word, and I could see blood oozing from a cut that encircled her face.